And we'll take you up to the top of the hour, and we'll break down a lot of the games for bettors out there. Pretty big game for the day for Major League Baseball. We got a lot of playoff races, an NBA game, NHL we'll cover as well. We'll take a peek here at our pick dogs who will be joining us today. We got El Ninos, Joe Duffy, Rod, of course, Chris, and Mitch, my co-host. We'll bring Mitch onto the full screen. Mitch, how you doing today? Of course, we both were on that the Nuggets team as they get the win against the Lakers, make that series 2-1.
Absolutely. I've had a few trip ups in the NBA playoffs and since the restart, but thankfully not too many. So real excited about everything that's going on in the NBA and everything we're doing at Sports Chat Place and at pickdogs.com. I love the start time of the show today. It turns into something, a real beauty. I'm going to be broadcasting live while live betting at the same time. So, so be it. You got to do what you got to do.
Absolutely. Of course, games in progress. Angels 4-2 against the Padres. And, of course, right now the Indians and White Sox about to start, Mitch. I took a peek at that one. Bieber on the mound, but Giolito getting some plus dollars in this one.
Absolutely. This is a value play if you're ready for it. It's like if you have the guts to go up against Bieber, he can't win them all. Maybe he can, but, Giolito's pitched well. And Bryce Harper hits one, and it is gone. In the top of the first inning, Bryce Harper gets a hit, and that was about a $28 million home run with the batting average he's had this year. But we all know the Phillies have no interest in winning baseball games this year. So it's only the first inning. It's 1-0. For those of you that have the Nats, of course, I'm squarely on the over in this thing.
Yeah, Phillies 2 games in the loss column out of the playoff spot, having to pass the Giants and the Brewers, who sit with 27 losses, Mitch. Of course, the Dodgers, they've wrapped up the number 1 seed. Nothing much to play for here. They're number 1. Padres at 21 losses, they can be no better than a 4 seed because, Mitch, those second place teams can't be greater than a 4 seed. So they have a 4-game lead on St. Louis for the 4 to get that home field in that first matchup. So I think the Padres still got something to play for here in the final days. But once they clinch that 4 seed, I think that they won't have much to play for after that.
No, they don't have much to play for. But the thing is they have a double header. I believe it's Friday. Against the Giants, and the Giants have plenty to play for in that in that race. So it's 4 teams for 2 spots, but the other teams, the Giants kind of luck out that the other teams are kind of all playing each other. So you have the Brewers facing off against the Cardinals with a bunch of games in the air on that one. So their hope is that someone will get damaged, even if they split, and then if the Padres kind of tank it in like they did today. But they're talking to Nielsen Lamet and who's the other half of the they named the starters for Friday. It was Nielsen Lamet and it was their other guy, Paddock. Were the starters for Friday. So the Giants are going to certainly have hopefully get for them get a split there, and that would help them immensely heading into the back half of that Padres rotation, and of course with the playoffs starting. The Padres, likely to rest their starters.
Yeah, no doubt about that. Likely to rest starters there. Looking over at the AL side of the picture, of course, it's Minnesota and the White Sox. One will be a 2 because they'll be. Oh, actually, they could actually fall in the 3 spot, but the White Sox just up on the Minnesota Twins by 1 game in the loss column, Mitch. And of course, if they go down to 4, they could be looking at a Yankees series in that mini series, best of 3. Of course, that's where Minnesota sits. Minnesota's been a team that's been trying to catch the White Sox.
Yeah, it's been it's been a great season in the American League Central division that nobody really thinks much of. But here you have it. 3 teams fighting for it, and even the Tigers, who are kind of the slouch, considered a slouch, were super competitive all season long and have some great young pitchers too. But these Twins, they could probably look back at their schedule and look back at some of these games that they lost in Pittsburgh and places like that, and they're probably just shaking their heads at like the blown opportunities. The White Sox kind of took their foot off the gas over the past week. They caught some tough matchups in Cincinnati and then in Cleveland last night. I'm not really even sure what happened, and I'm not sure they know what happened either.
No, absolutely. All right, this is the Drive To, guys. Daily at 6 p.m. Eastern Time. We break down all the big games right around tip-off time or first pitch as we take it to the top of the hour. We have a lot of free picks coming. We'll cover the NBA game. We got the hockey game, a lot of Major League Baseball. We'll flip in some NFL as well as college football. But let's go ahead and bring in one of our first handicappers. We're one of the pick dogs, and welcome a veteran handicapper with us, Joe Duffy. Joe, how you doing this evening?
I'm doing pretty well, gentlemen. Hopefully you guys are doing well as well. I said
Uh,
well a lot, didn't I? Let's go to the well for one more time.
yeah, let's go to the well one more time. Of course, joined here by Joe Duffy as we talk some college football. But your thoughts here on this Major League Baseball race that we're seeing?
Yeah, one of the things that to keep in mind that a lot of people at the end of the year always like to go with the team that needs it more. With the expanded playoffs this year, it kind of throws a monkey wrench into it, but be careful of betting on the teams that need it more, especially teams that are in true spoiler situations are often undervalued. And even the teams that are playing their young players, you're still getting great value there. So you might have some pretty live underdogs. But again, there is not a bigger, well, there are a lot of mistakes that gamblers make, but going with the team that is presumed to need the game more is definitely high up there.
Yeah, Mitch, we see that a lot with some novices in this industry as they begin betting. They get caught up with the talking heads that they see on television saying this team needs it, this team needs it. That's something you got to be careful for.
Yeah, I'm always wary about injuries and as well too. That it's in the line. The injury is in the line, and it's not like nobody knows that Tom Brady's injured, or no one knows that it's not like nobody knows that Saquon Barkley's out. It's in the line. The line isn't going to be the same with Saquon Barkley in the lineup as it is with him out of the lineup. And it's amazing on our live show in the morning, how many hundreds of comments we get like this every single week. And it's like I feel like I don't even know how to say it in a nice way anymore. It's like it's in the line. It's not like nobody knows that. But I think people expect to see the line move even more. I think that is the thing with the amateur better, with the the weekend better, the Vegas better. And I don't mean the people that live in Vegas better. I mean the Vegas weekend better. We're going to Vegas for the weekend. We're going to AC for the weekend. Type better is that they think that Saquon Barkley's worth more than 2 points in an NFL game. Well, got news for you. He isn't. He's not. And it's not fantasy football. It's real football, and it's just the way of the world and the way that it works. And if he was worth more, the books would certainly be dialed into that.
They sure would.
All right, we had that situation. We had that situation last week. I think it was a week ago tonight. I gave you Seattle as a free pick, and of course, I was talking about how there's obviously no fans there. Seattle usually has one of the great home field advantages, but it was in the line because Seattle was much more than a 1 point better than New England, in my opinion, and according to my power ratings, but they're only a 4-point favorite, which under normal years, home field advantage is worth 3 points, but they're only laying 4. So Mitch is correct about that. The odds makers are always one step ahead of you, and you've got to take that into consideration. They're not oblivious to the fact there aren't fans at games. They're not oblivious to the fact that as Barkley, and Mitch is right, Barkley's one of the few non-quarterbacks who can definitely affect the line by a half a point or a point or so.
All right, here drive through. We're joined by Joe Duffy and Mitch. Joe, you're going to be looking here at a college football game as we're looking here at Army and Cincinnati. This one 3:30 p.m. Eastern time on Saturday. This one's going to get good coverage over on ESPN. Both teams ranked in the top 25. We saw Army a dog again here. Cincinnati laying about 13.5. Total sits here at 45. Army off to an impressive start.
Yeah, and this is something where a lot of my different metrics are all pointing towards Army. I know it dropped to 13.5 in most places. When I sent the game this morning, it was still highly available at 14. Most of the computer systems I give you kind of fit under the umbrella of counterintuitive. Not this one. This is one that's kind of straightforward and makes perfect sense. When you have a big underdog and a low total where points are going to be that much more valuable, going with big underdogs in games that are not expected to be high scoring are 276, 178, and 20, because 13.5 points does not equal 13.5 points. In other words, if you're talking about a game, a Big 12 game or whatever, where the total might be 70 or 75, we've even seen some in the 80s, 13.5 points wouldn't be quite as big in that game as it is in this game where points are going to be very tough to come by. I told you that at the beginning for a long time, I've been looking at a couple computer models that do simulations, some power ratings, talked to a lot of people, and there are 3 that I've singled out. One of those, they do 10,000 simulations. I know some people probably aware of the computer program I'm talking about. That's fine. I'm not going to make it too easy, but some people could probably guess the one I'm talking about. They found that Army will be covering 67% of the simulations, losing by only 6 points. Another simulation program had Army covering 58.3 to 40%. Now, that was based on it being at 14, so it doesn't add up to 100. So a couple of them would have been pushes. And this game is projected by that computer simulator to be about an 11-point difference. And then my favorite power line has Cincinnati only favored by 6.5. But one of those, with a handicapper I've known for a long time, he likes to call them intangibles. This is Army's toughest game of the year. They can put all their emotional eggs in this basket earlier in the year. So I don't think if you're talking about which team is going to be every bit as much focus, a team that really wants to, at the very least, keep this game competitive, this is Army. This is pretty much their statement game. So huge game for Army, and they've got a little bit more speed with Buchanan and Robinson and McCoy. They're usually a team that kind of outsmarts you, out-disciplines you, but they've got a pretty fast running game, so they might even be able to pull off some plays between, all their trickeration and the fact they've got some running backs that are a little faster than Army's normally ready for. I wouldn't be surprised if we see, a couple 40-yard bursts here and there, and I do think at the very least Army is going to keep this game very close. I'm not a big money line guy. This is even a game I might look at from a money line standpoint.
All right, Joe Duffy coming in here playing Army plus the points here against Cincinnati. Mitch, looking at Cincinnati side, they just took an injury in their last game. Their leading receiver from last year, Alec Pierce, is out with a knee injury. That hurts Cincinnati's passing game. That means they'll be without their top running back and 4 top receivers from last season. So issue there, Mitch, with having to replace some playmakers for the Bearcats.
I think the Bearcats, I like the way that this team plays under Luke Fickell, has really done a nice job there. Cincinnati's become sort of like a stopping ground for coaches off to big programs, and, with mixed success at those big programs when they head there. But, Mark D'Antonio, Butch Jones, Brian Kelly, all stopped off in Cincinnati, and Luke Fickell appears to be on that same track. Cincinnati is a breeding ground of NFL and Division I college level talent. Look at Ohio State, just absolutely stacked. They got some good schools there, St. X, and you got Moeller High School, traditional powerhouse, plus Princeton High School, along with a few of the other big national powerhouses as well. They also get some of those scraps from Northern Ohio that don't end up at Ohio State, and some of those scraps are pretty good players too. Luke Fickell really has done a really, really nice job there. We've seen Army against 2 teams not very physical, Middle Tennessee and ULM. ULM had one good player, and that was Webster, number 10. He had about 1.5 million tackles in that game. But Cincinnati is all guys that can tackle. And I think this one's going to be a physical game. And I think that, turnovers are going to dictate it. And if Cincinnati can force some turnovers, I think Army's might be in some trouble, because they're going to if Army falls behind, if they turn the ball over and fall behind, they're dead. They are absolutely dead in this one, because Luke Fickell, he has that kind of that mentality where he really puts the foot on the jugular. We saw it last year a number of times, and we see it in Ryan Day, the Ohio State head coach, and Luke Fickell comes from that same line. So I'm not saying that Cincinnati is Ohio State. Obviously, we saw the score last year when they played. If it was a fight, they would have stopped it. But I am saying that Luke Fickell is doing a nice job, and he has some good talent, and they have some depth. I mean, this is a team that when Brian Kelly was there, their 6th-string quarterback took them all the way to the Sugar Bowl. I mean, they got housed by Florida, but still, with their 6th-string quarterback. Remember the Tony Pike days? Yeah. Cincinnati has some talent. They have some talent.
Yeah, they are talented. Joe, you mentioned that big database variance. When do you make a play when you see a variance? Obviously, there was a huge 8-point variance there when you were talking about that database. Do you track the variance numbers when there's a variance of 3? The key numbers 3, 7, 10. How successful do these games come in when there's these huge variances in the current line and the database line?
Well, the simulators and that power ratings, they're more of kind of cooperation. I still have had so much success over the years with that initial system that I did tell you about. But I also do. I very much, one of the system or one of the computer programs displays it, perfectly, where they have what the strongest plays are, and it's arguably the best program. So I kind of start with there. What are the best programs? Yeah, key numbers are very important, but obviously, the lower the number is, when you're talking about a 3-point difference between what the power number says it is and what the odds say it is, it's a lot bigger when we're talking about a much lower spread than the difference between, again, so the difference between 20 and 23 is not the same as the difference between 6 and 3. So you definitely have to weigh that accordingly, not just how big of a difference is, but how big the point spread is.
Joe, you're off to a very good start. College football approaching 300 units. What do you have up over at Big Dogs Premium?
Well, right now we do have the NBA. That's another one of those quality over quantity nights. But I am going to definitely have some big college football games this weekend. Obviously the SEC's finally debuting. The truth is, I may not even have some of the high-profile games, but I know a couple totals are just jumping out at me, and a few sides as well. So we'll probably, 5-7 college football winners before the weekend is out.
All right, guys, so check out Joe Duffy over at Pig Dogs Premium. Pick up one of his packages. Really good start in college football. All right, Joe, it's always great having you on the show. Have a great night, and we'll talk to you Friday.
All right, gentlemen, we shall.
All right, that's our buddy Joe Duffy here on our show, The Drive-Thru. A lot more picks coming, guys. We're going to cover that NBA game with Heat and Celtics. We've got the hockey game, Lightning and Dallas Stars. A lot more baseball, some NFL and college football picks still coming. And at the end of the show, we will recap all the plays. We've created a banner with all the picks from the cappers. So if you come in late, you want to know all the picks, we'll flash all the picks for you at the end of the show. So make sure you stay tuned to the end of the show. All right, Mitch, let's take a look here at one of the games from Major League Baseball with playoff implications. Brewers, Hauser, Cincinnati, Bauer, bottom of the hour, about 15 minutes away from start time. About $1.65 favorite is Cincinnati. Hauser. If you like him, you're going to get plus money with the Milwaukee Brewers. Mitch, of course, these teams are definitely battling. They split the first two games of this series. It was a close one last night. Brewers come up, but you're looking here at Reds and favorite in this one.
Yeah, both of the first two games, the first 5 or 6 innings went exactly the same. Exactly the same. They were really, really tight early, and then a home run by Milwaukee kind of opened up the scoring. And 2 nights ago, the Reds were able to stop the bleeding right then and there, and then go on to score a couple runs of their own. Meanwhile, last night it was the Brewers able to capitalize and then slam the door on the Reds late. So it's gone both ways. Bauer has pitched pretty well. He's got the big ERA. He's got the low ERA is really more like it. 4-4 though, and so he is beatable. Hauser, just one of those guys that you're not sure what you're going to get. He kind of is a Forrest Gump. It's just the box of chocolates. Never sure what you're going to get. But I think with Hauser and the Brewers, I think there's some value here. I just like the way that the Brewers, they seem to play better in the meaningful games, and the games against the easy teams is where they seem to really struggle.
Absolutely, here with the easy ones, no doubt about that. I'm joined here with Mitch here on the drive-thru. A lot more plays coming, and we're going to go ahead and bring in one of the puck dogs. You can listen to him in the morning at 10:30 a.m. Eastern time with Mitch and company. It's the morning show. Rod Zawacki. Rod, how are you doing this afternoon, evening?
Well, I'm doing good.
All right, ready for some hockey tonight. Before we get there, your thoughts here on some of the baseball. What games you got your eyes on today?
For me, I am looking at that at the Giants game as well. Like I said, it's one of those playoff games. That's what I'm keeping an eye on. Some of these ones in this tight race. We'll see how the Jays can do. Are they going to slump and fall right out of the playoffs, or and let the Angels come back? Yeah. The Angels are winning.
yeah, and they're not dead yet. That's funny because I looked at the standings today to see what eliminated teams. But believe it or not, Seattle and the Angels are 4 games back at Houston, so there's still some hope for them. Well, actually, in the wild card race, they're still in that race as well. So we'll see what happens. As watching this White Sox Cleveland game, White Sox got to have a little bit of jam here, going to the top of the second there with no score. So that's a game I've been watching. But we're going to talk to Rod today about the hockey game. Game 3 between the Tampa Bay Lightning and Dallas Stars, even up this one to start at 8 Eastern time. We're finding here that Tampa Bay favored here on the as $1.40, $1.50 in this one. We expect the total here to be always around 5, which is 5, but it's juiced to the over.
For me in this contest tonight, like the first 2 games have all been hitting. They've been definitely hard-hitting contests. We've had 207 hits in the first 2 games of this series. Tampa with a little bit of an edge, with 107 hits over 100. So any of these two add up on that, and the other team's going to pounce. So I think we're definitely going to see lots of hits. Second point I'm definitely looking at was Tampa's power play got rolling. So Dallas, they have had at times where they've taken some really undisciplined penalties, and Tampa with their power play going now, they'll be ready to pounce on that. Both teams, whoever scores first in the first 2 games has won the game. So for me, I'm gonna lean Tampa here, because they got their power play going, and they always look like they're right there, pressure, and Vasilevsky kept his after a loss, bouncing back and staying perfect after a loss, and I think he holds them in there and keeps them close. I got to go with Tampa. Give me Tampa here, and I think we're going to hit the over tonight. I really do. We've seen 5 in each of these games, and I really think that we're going to go over. We're going to get that empty net goal to push us over the 5 hump this time. Right. I think it's going to be 4-2 Tampa final. I think Tampa on the puck line.
Says Tampa
nice
on the
plus
puck
180.
Line. It concerns here with Dallas, the designated home team. They'll make the final line change, and of course, the goaltending for Dallas has been pretty sharp in the entire playoff series.
It has been. Hudobin, he's been playing a lot. This is still uncharted territory for him. He's never played hockey back to back. Being the starting goalie, he's always been the backup. He's always been a backup, never a starter. So he's had games where he's let a bunch in. So I think that's going to be the game here.
All right, Mitch, you keep your eye on that. Of course, now that we're in the finals, you kept your eye on the hockey.
Tampa Bay Lightning can go suck it for all I care. They didn't want there to be hockey. They didn't want to play in the bubble. And, I don't care. I'm going to hold it against them until the day I die. We sat there with no sports. We sat there suffering through Bundesliga, watching simulated football played in snow conditions. This Madden football played in, various. We watched the Madden Pro Bowl being played simulated. We might have a problem. I bet on the thing, right? But it's like, these guys, to say, give something back to the community and just say, so what? Maybe the playoffs, we're going to have to play some extra games, and maybe we're not going to get seeded where it's going to be. Well, it's for them to say we're not going to play. They can go suck it, It's like it was the one chance for them to give something back, And it's like everybody else wants to play except for the Tampa Bay Lightning. And now here they are in the Stanley Cup Finals. I can only hope they get housed tonight by the Stars. I'm on Dallas.
All right, that's so says Mitch. That's on Dallas. All right, Rod Zawacki joining us here on the drive-through, keeping an eye on some baseball and some hockey. Rod, we're looking at your numbers here over at Pig Dogs NBA, approaching 600 units of profit this year. So you're doing very well. What do you have going on over at Pig Dogs Premium?
Tonight I have 3 selections in the NBA game. Got going. I've got Wicked Wednesday package, 3 selections in the NBA. 1 in the hockey and 1 baseball selection. You can grab the Wicked Wednesday package, still available.
All right, guys, so check out Rod Zawacki over at Pig Dogs Premium. Pick up one of his packages. He's doing fantastic work over in the NBA. You'll find him on the morning show, 10:30 a.m. Eastern Time with Mitch and Company. It's called The Morning Show. So as always, Rod, great having you on the show. Have a great night, and we'll listen and watch you tomorrow morning.
Great to be here. You guys have yourself a wonderful evening as well.
All right. That was Rod Zawacki here on the drive-thru. All right, guys, hit the bottom of the hour. Still a lot more picks to come. We've got the NBA game. We've got some football. We'll have NBA and NFL and college football. A lot more baseball coming up. And if you miss any of the show, stay tuned at the end of the show. We created a big banner with all the picks from the Cappers. We'll flash that up at the end of the show to get you guys updated with all the picks on the show today. All right, Mitch, let's take a look at a game, a meaningful game today involving Miami Marlins and the Atlanta Braves. This one will be starting here at the top of the hour. Sixto Sanchez against Atlanta with Max Fried on the mound. We've got Atlanta big favorites here, $1.68, $1.70 in some places. Total sits here at 8, but the Sixto has pitched pretty well. How do you see this one?
Yeah, I said in my video on this game that Max Fried has been inconsistent. I got walloped on the comments and YouTube on that one. He's 7-0 with like a 1.3 ERA. It's like I kind of maybe inconsistent wasn't the word I was looking for. I just think he is, even though maybe he hasn't totally shown it. I do think that he does have some vulnerabilities, and I think Sixto is a guy that can keep the Marlins in this game. I don't think that, and what I basically was trying to say, and what I did say in the video, is that I don't think this game is decided between the starters. I think this game goes to the bullpen and is decided there. We've seen a lot of high-scoring games with the Braves all season long, and I think it's well worth a shot here with the Marlins, who are playing for a postseason berth. And, they do have a lot to play for. The Braves, a little less to play for, but still, this is a young team. They just enjoy playing the game. But we're watching, the Angels beat up on the Padres right now, and you kind of say, well, this is kind of the difference, right? As we go, how long is Fried going to go in this thing?
Yeah, that's absolutely right. How long will they go? Especially when this is their last start. Remember, this is the last start before the postseason for a lot of these guys. So you got to keep an eye on even Shane Bieber today on the mound for Cleveland. Absolutely.
We're going to see limited innings. We saw Mike Clevenger go 1, in San Diego today.
Yeah.
And it is what it is, and it is what will be the norm, over the weekend as well, as they wind down and head towards what's going to be a very long postseason.
Oh yes,
we know that. It's going to be a very long postseason. It's going to be the longest postseason in baseball history. I expect to see some records fall. There will be no asterisks. They just love records. Be like most doubles in a postseason. It's like, yeah, you played 6 more games. It's like, longest drive in Super Bowl history. Yeah, they have a running clock. It's like, obviously, so really not that far-fetched. 40-second clock in between. It used to be 30, and they used to stop when guys went out of bounds, and, there's an incomplete pass. Yeah, it's going to be longer.
We'll see how much carryover there is if they allow more teams in the postseason. That would be interesting to see next year.
Yeah, I'm telling you, if they can make 50 cents more doing it that way, there will be more teams in the postseason. Soon there'll be less teams not making the postseason than make the postseason.
This is where you don't have the salary cap where you're sharing revenue, but we'll see if the baseball will go for that, if the players will go for that for the expanded postseason. That's something you got to wonder.
Once again, just throw another $1 in their contract. I'm sure they'll go for it.
There's no question about that. All right, here in the drive-thru, I'm Tony and Mitch. We've got a lot more picks coming up, and we got another one coming right now. We go over to the one of the pick dogs. Chris Ruffalo joins us here. You'll hear him with Mitch in the morning, 10:30 a.m. Eastern time. Chris, how you doing today? You getting excited over this baseball? Some meaningful games here going on with the White Sox and Indians, and some good games at the top of the hour.
And definitely, like you guys were saying, we're coming down the stretch, and we're coming down to home plate, and this is what we've been looking for. Even when we had nothing going on, we said we'll take baseball any way we can get it. And even when you have some pitchers that are going 1 or 2 innings, and man, it's still baseball to me. It's still 9 innings of some solid ball. So let's go. Let's get started tonight.
Absolutely. And you're looking at the game at the top of the hour involving the Cubs with Hendricks and Pittsburgh and Williams. We've got the Cubs going to be laying a bundle here about 255. Total sits here in 8.5. Boy, it's been a rough season for Trevor.
Yeah, you want to talk about pitchers that are going 1 or 2 innings. Trevor Williams might not have a choice at this point, because I think that's how long he might be end up going in this game. And he's given up 5 or more runs in each of his last 5 starts. 30 runs, 27 earned across those 5 starts, spanning 25.1 innings. And I almost said the Penguins, and that's how cold they've been. The Pirates, lost 9 of Williams' 10 starts this year, and 13 of 14 dating back to last year. What else can you really say about this guy other than he's for lack of a better word, been terrible. And opponents are having a 929 OPS off him this season. Kyle Hendricks, on the other hand, known for being a road home pitcher, much better than being on the road. The problem is he's been pitching out of his mind right now. He's made it into the 8th inning in each of his last 3 starts. Cubs have won his last 4 starts. Hendricks himself has gotten the win in 3 of those 4 starts. A 1.21 ERA and 27 strikeouts compared to just 3 walks and 4 September starts. I know Kendricks may not go long into this one, he may not go into the 8th again, but this just screams Cubs on the run line for me at this one. You can even maybe push it to -2.5. The other thing I'm looking at outside the pitching matchup, though, you got the Cubs jostling for the number 2 seed in the National League right now with Atlanta. And the 3 seed's probably going to play the Marlins if everything shakes out the way it is right now, and 7 seed or 2 seed will play Cincinnati. And I'd rather have the higher seed in that point. I mean, Chicago went 6-4 against the Reds this season, and the Reds are still going to have a lot of pressure because they saved some face by probably making the playoffs here for having such high expectations to start the year. But you look at Miami. Miami's playing with house money. Nobody expected Miami to be in the position that they're in right now, fighting for a playoff spot, fighting for positioning. And they could be a dangerous team in a 3-game set. Cincinnati, I think, could crumble under the pressure of living up to those expectations, trying to bring home a trophy after the expectations that were set out for them beginning of the year. So I'd rather have the higher seed in that point. I think that's an added bit of motivation for the Cubs at this point.
Mitch, looking at the Cubs' postseason chances, how do you see it here with their pitching beyond other than Hendricks?
Well, Darvish has pitched really well this season. He's, believe he is the comeback player of the year this year. Is Yu Darvish? He's had a tremendous season, and I think he's been kind of the rock for the Cubs. But outside of that, Alec Mills had the no hitter. But outside of that, he's been pretty much Alec Mills. John Lester looks to be at the tail end of his career. So, I think Cubs pitching certainly is an issue with Hendricks. It's got to be at home. Meanwhile, I'm watching, Texas, Arizona on my TV. So speaking of games that we said we would have killed for during COVID, yeah, I said I was going to enjoy every moment of every game. I've got it on. Arizona, Texas has a spot on my television in front of me. It's this is what my life has become.
The card hasn't been placed over the TV just yet.
I might even know someone that has a little action on this one.
That's what happens. That's what happens with those 6 p.m. Eastern starts. There's a few to choose from, but at 7 p.m. Eastern time, that one's flipping to something. Maybe the Yankees, Toronto.
It's like, I wonder what the line is on.
Chris, looking at this game, any concerns here about the Cubs hitting? I like to look at their hitting here. Past 7 games, just about 203, 2.5 runs a game. They may have been facing lefties in those spots, but any concern there with the Cubs bats?
I think I'll always have concerns with the Cubs bats when you're a baseball fan. But the one thing that cures any issues you may be having with the bats, facing the Pittsburgh Pirates. I mean, this team is. We had low expectations for them coming into the year, but was it 278 ball they're playing coming into this game? I mean, you even said the worst teams in the league tend to win 50 or 60 games, 60 or 65 games in a season. Pittsburgh's not even close to reaching that number, that comparison. I mean, outside of Trevor Williams, the pitching staff's been a mess this year. Everything from Chris Archer having gone down before the season starts. Joe Musgrove hasn't really panned out into anything. It's been a mess. Chad Kuhl and Steven Brault, who were starters at one time and, continue to provide quality starts here and there. They're not going to be the guys that are going to give you the star power, the ace type pitching that you need. It's going to be a long rebuild for the Pirates. I think they'll get there eventually. They'll get back to some sort of normalcy in the coming years, but it's going to be a while still, I think.
Any chance the Pirates score first here? I'm asking for a friend. Plus 190.
If the Cubs decide, hey, we're going to spot you a run before we even take the field, maybe. But I honestly could see this being a shutout.
Minus 260. Yeah. I mean, I don't know if that's that kind of money.
Are there props there for a Cubs shutout?
There's props here for an over 12.5 at plus 403.
So
yeah, I think I know someone that might be somewhat interested in something like that. Yeah,
all right. What's the first
100 pays 403 if anyone's wondering.
What's the first 5? I don't have it in front of me. What's the first 5 on the over/under?
I don't know. My computer seems to be stuck in doing something else right now.
Don't you leave this plus 403 on the table. We have bigger fish to fry right now.
In case you were wondering, 150 pays 600 case. It was just some quick math in my head. Nothing that I saw off my computer screen.
Nothing at all. I heard it from my friend that was asking.
That's right. That's right. All right, Chris, we're seeing you over at Pig Dogs Premium. Over 950 units in the NBA. You're doing fantastic work. What do you got going on over at Pig Dogs Premium?
And I love that combo that I gave out yesterday. So I figured, you know what? We did a number 5 combo yesterday. We're going to do a number 6 combo today. It's going to be up until the top of the hour when the show goes off. It's going to be 6 picks in that package, 3 MLB as well as my side and total from the NBA, as well as my top play from the NHL tonight. Put it up there for $25. It's only going to be up for another 25, 30 minutes. It's going to go off. The games go off at 7:10. Don't miss out on this. If you missed out on my Whale Wednesday package from earlier today, you're going to want to at least get this to start your night off right.
All right, guys, check out Chris Ruffalo doing fantastic work over at Pig Dogs Premium, over 950 units in the NBA. Chris, is always great having your show. Have a great night, and we'll listen for you and watch you tomorrow morning at 10:30 a.m. Eastern Time on Mitch's Show, The Morning Show.
I got my toaster pastries ready, and I got the parquet lined up. Let's go.
All right. Well, we'll see you
All
then.
right, I'll see you guys in the morning.
All right, that was Chris Ruffalo, guys, here on the drive-through. All right, we approach the top of the hour. We still have a lot more picks coming, some more baseball, some college football, NFL, and the NBA game we still got to cover here. So we got some work to do, ground to make up here. Hey, I'm joined with Mitch. Mitch, let's take a look at this one here. Late night game for some people. It may be what you used to call the old bailout game. It's the Dodgers and the Athletics. Manea and on the mound for the Oakland Athletics. I've showed Urias here, and it looks like the Dodgers laying about $1.60. The total sits at 9. Of course, Oakland moving in the wrong direction, but Maya's one of the pitchers here that has put up some good numbers here of late. How do you say? I know we've been bashing Urias for a little while, but sometimes they don't leave him in long enough for the damage. They get him out quick. But how do you see this one?
I think it's one of those quick exits once again. I think Oakland, after last night's game, they're good. They're good at shedding it off. It's like they have a bad day. They treat it independently of their other days, and I don't think they're a lot to worry about. As Carlos Santana has taken a Lucas Giolito fastball into the second deck in Cleveland, but I just think that Oakland is just such a gritty team. They're not going to lose a lot of games. They're not going to string together losses. This has been a value team for us for years. It's been odd seeing them at big prices as a favorite, but now they're right in their wheelhouse as a plus 140, plus 150 dog. This is where we've been betting them for years, and it's definitely for me worth a play.
Yeah, it looks like it's worth play there. Of course, remember the Dodgers are already locked into the 1 seed. I know Justin Turner has been nursing some hamstring issues, so keep an eye on him in the lineup. I noticed one thing, Mitch, when Turner is out of the lineup, the Dodgers seem to struggle. Remember when he went down a few weeks ago? Dodgers struggled. Remember last year, he went down to start the season when he took that pitch off his off his hand in preseason. It was a slow start for LA. Turner's kind of a key cog in that lineup for LA.
Yeah, he's kind of that emotional leader, that clubhouse guy. Interesting play here in the Nationals-Phillies games. Of course, Eric Fetty's pitching, so the bases were loaded. And, a ground ball hit to the third baseman. They throw it over to second base. He drops the ball. They call the runner out. I'm not so sure he had it in his glove for the transition. I'm going to guess there's going to be a replay. Of course, a run scores on this, but maybe he did, and maybe it was on the pass back from that angle. Yeah, I think that the runner's out. But still, first and third, 2 outs. 2 in for Philly here, and we know they're not going to hold any lead anytime soon.
Yeah,
so
it doesn't look
maybe a good chance. Maybe a good chance for an in-gamer here on the Nationals. But back to what we were talking about. I just think Oakland is just such a gritty team. It's always next man up. It's always it's always the right guy up at the right time. It's just one of those things. And a pitcher like Urias who can struggle. Oh man, these guys can just really be the thorn in the side. It's kind of that. Splinter. It's just that tiny little splinter that you can't get out. It's like that's Oakland. Oakland and Tampa Bay very much like that. Where it's like they don't have a superstar guy. So missing a guy here, missing a guy there doesn't really affect them much.
No, not at all. All right, guys, it's the drive-through, 6 p.m. Eastern time. We're joined by Mitch. A lot more picks to come in, and we're going to continue our talk here in baseball. And welcome to the drive-through our buddy El Ninos. El, I know you're a big LA fan. We have to touch this with your Lakers. What happened last night?
Oh man, it's tough. That happened though. You can't win them all, no matter how good you are. And the Nuggets are a good team, and they're gonna live by the 3, die by the 3, and they lived last night. But I don't think it's gonna carry on too long. Although I do think it's gonna be.
What real fan doesn't start by blaming the refs? I mean, you got if you're a real fan,
no.
immediately you start assassinating the refs and everything around them. Where they had dinner, maybe where their kids go to school, pretty much everything and anything that has to do with them, heading into that game. I mean it's okay to be a homer.
Yeah, it's not so bad.
No, man, I just really think the Lakers are the better team, and I don't think I'm the only person that thinks so. Although I do give Denver their credit.
So. I don't think Jamal Murray thinks so. It certainly didn't look like it last night.
And
you disagree with Jamal Murray.
And then
oh yeah, Davis looked exhausted, in that game. Yeah, that was bad there. Yeah, that didn't look good at all. But again, still think the Lakers. Although I do think the Nuggets can keep some games close. I do think it's the Lakers series to lose, obviously.
It looks that way, but we'll see if they can continue with again, you're getting only 1 day off between games, and the fatigue will become a factor, especially for the older players on the Lakers, and the fact that the supporting cast doesn't really help LeBron and Anthony Davis well enough. All right, El, you're going to be looking at a baseball game. We've got 8 Eastern time. We got St. Louis. This is a team in must-win mode here with Carlos Martinez on the mound. This might take 5 hours to finish against Kansas City and Duffy, the lefty. Duffy's been ripped a little bit, but this is one of those must-win lines here with St. Louis laying about $1.30 and a total sitting here at 9. And of course, Martinez, this man is a walk machine. How do you see it?
Yeah, that's a big problem against these Royals that are pretty good at stealing bases. So he wants to be careful with that. He's coming off his last outing, I believe. Let me double check these numbers. He walked 4, struck out only 1. Kansas eliminated St. Louis. Yes, still have something to play for. But as Joe was saying, just because a team has to win doesn't mean they will win. And Kansas also getting Soler back, who's coming off a 48 home run season. He's back in the lineup. Duffy's not a great pitcher, but he is having a better season than Martinez. He gave up 6 runs in his last start, but he's bounced back quite well so far this year. And I think he'll want to redeem himself here. They also have some young players who should still be trying to do their best every time out there. And, they do have a bit of a home field advantage. They haven't been great there, but a bit better than their overall record. They're 11-14 at home. So I'm going to take a shot with the Royals here as a small dog, even though I know the Cardinals need this game way more than the Royals do.
All right, it's a ballsy pick there, taking the Royals. Mitch, what do you see? How do you see this one here with Royals and Cardinals? But of course, Carlos Martinez on the mound, I don't think it's that as big a risk as we think.
I don't know. I've gotten every game wrong in this series so far, so whoever I say, be sure to take the other team. I don't know. I've been on the Royals the first 2 games, so maybe I'll take the Cardinals here and so Royals fans can catch a break. It's just, it's been that kind of baseball season for me. I've been tearing it up in the NBA and in the NFL, but at Major League Baseball, I don't know. It's like my dogs just aren't barking, like they were. And I think it's the 60-game schedule, and the way that every game counts as 2.7. It seems that like a team like the Pittsburgh Pirates have won 14 games. There's no way during a 160-game schedule that they're only going to win 40 games. It's like they're going to win at least 50 or 60. So just not as many opportunities. I think we've seen it. This Royals Cardinal series has kind of defined it for me. And I can't win with Singer. I'm not going to win in this series. I'm taking this game off. But and for both these teams, I think their fan bases appreciate that. But it's a lean to the Cardinals for me. And I think we're going to see the quick hook if Martinez gets in trouble, because Cardinals just way too much to play for at this point.
Yeah, we've seen some pitchers in there. Gomber, we've seen Martinez, and of course we're getting all these double headers. So you're going to get some tired arms here with the Cardinals, Al.
Yeah, and Martinez hasn't gone more than 4 innings anyway, so you don't think he's going to pitch too much either way, no matter how good he does. Yeah, I don't know. I just think the Royals, young team, Duffy, I don't think he wants 2 bad outings in a row. And so as I said, taking a shot on the small home dog here.
All right, El Nino says take the small home dog, and you can find Al over at Pig Dogs Premium. Really good start, Al, to the NFL and college football. As we hit the top of the hour, what do you have going on over at Pig Dogs Premium?
Yeah, I still have a 3-pack with my NBA, NHL, and an MLB play, my favorite play of the night. So my favorite MLB play of the night, and then obviously they got the NBA and the NHL Stanley Cup Finals, which should both be great games. So if you want to check them out, they're up on the premium side.
All right, guys, check out El Ninos over at Big Dogs Premium. Pick up his package. Like I said, he's having a good start to football. Tomorrow will be a lot of coverage from football, so we'll have Al on again tomorrow. Al, as always, great having your show. Have a great night, and we will talk to you tomorrow.
All right, thanks for having me. We'll see you tomorrow.
All right, that was El Ninos here on the drive-through, 6 p.m. Eastern time, Monday through Friday. We're here throughout the daily during the week, Monday through Friday. A lot more games to get to. We can still have some. We do have some baseball. We got the NBA games still come, college football, and we have the NFL. And by the way, at the end of the show, we are going to show you all the picks from all the cappers on the. So if you missed, you tuned in late, don't worry. We've got you covered with the picks. So it was right before the end of the show, we'll flash the banner with all the picks on the show today. All right, we'll continue here on the drive-through. Mitch, let's take a look at this West Virginia and Oklahoma State game. We're finding here the Mountaineers will be hitting the road, and its favorite here is Okie State is favored. This line has come down from 8.5 now. We're seeing Oklahoma State favored 7 to 6.5. Total sits here at 51. Of course, the concern here is the quarterback position. Of course, Sanders may not play in this game. The line's probably signaling that, Mitch.
Yeah, he got banged up early in that game, and the backup quarterback for Oklahoma State was abysmal. Oklahoma State barely got out with a win last week. They were lucky to win that game. I mean, they were favored by 23.5 points, and as Chris said in the video that I did with him this afternoon for this game, you can't cover a 23.5 point spread if you don't score at least 24 points in the game. So that's what we saw from Oklahoma State. I thought Chuba Hubbard was a little disappointing. I thought the backup running back was super effective in that game, though. So, I think that Oklahoma State could play better, but not without their quarterback. I think they might be in a little bit of trouble here.
Yeah, especially got a little bit of experience there at West Virginia. Jared Doege, his running backs, many of his playmakers in the passing game returned, and they did show balance. They did face an FCS team, but they had to balance a rushing attack. Something they couldn't do last year, Mitch, is run the football for the Mountaineers. And this is a team we really haven't talked a whole lot of the past season. They've been falling below expectations.
Yeah, they just haven't been very good. Dana Holgerson was there, then he left, and now we have a new coach at West Virginia. Second year in. This is a school that's traditionally produced NFL talent, but we just haven't seen it. The Big 12. They play in the Big 12, so you got to play big defense there because everybody seems to score about 1 million points a game. It's just a tough program to figure out. They don't get the notoriety of some of the other Big 12 programs either.
All right, this is the drive-through here. I'm joined by Mitch, and we'll get Mitch this time. Let's get your play in here. We're going to look at the Rockies and Giants, 9:45 Eastern time. It's the bailout game. We got Castellani and Berrigar going for the Giants, but we're looking here at the Giants, big favorites here, about $2. The total sits at 9.
I hate laying this kind of price, but I don't really see anywhere to go. I think the Rockies have been a mess this season. Take away the first couple weeks of the season, and this team has been pure hell, and it's like you see all kinds of value in the betting lines for the Rockies, but there's no value in losing, and I think that's what you've done by backing the Rockies, and maybe that's why I've had such a bad Major League Baseball season. Maybe I've been on the Rockies too many times and not on the Padres enough. And I think, with the Giants, I've been on them plenty, and they've kind of been my bailout team, and I see them in the bailout game here too. I think the only way of making any money here, though, is laying the run line, and the Giants aren't particularly a run line team, and that is a little bit of an issue for me.
Yeah, that's no doubt about that. All right, joined here by Mitch, looking at this Giant Rockies team. As we hit the top of the hour, Mitch, what do you have going on over at Pig Dogs? You're number 1 in NFL and NBA.
Yeah, it's two of the pro sports when normally I'm considered a college guy. I'm super proud of that NBA record. The NFL, it's way too early to start pounding our chest. We all know, that how that goes. But I have a pick in tonight's NBA game. I have 2 other baseball plays that are out there. One of them has already started, but the other one is out there. And I'll have plenty of plays this weekend in the NFL, college football, and I'll continue to have a side play in every NBA game, until a champion is crowned.
All right, that was Mitch here. Of course, he's in the morning at 10:30 a.m. Eastern time. But our show, The Drive Through, 6 p.m. Eastern time, Monday through Friday, guys. We still have some more picks. We got an NBA. We're gonna get the NBA game, and we also have an NFL. And after that, we're gonna show you all the picks from the show. So hang on, we'll get you all the plays on the show today. All right, we'll continue. It's time for my play, and we're gonna look here at the Heat and Boston Celtics. And I'm gonna go ahead and take up the Miami Heat at plus 3.5. You know, Miami's been a good bounce back team following a loss this season. They've covered 23 of 31 after defeat. They're playing they had played 3 games in 6 days. They didn't shoot the ball very well, 38% in that loss. But I think the rest is definitely going to benefit the Heat because you saw what they looked like in game 1 and 2. They were really fast on the court. They'll shoot better. Remember, they're the second best three-point shooting team in the NBA. They've done a good job of defending the perimeter over their past 5 games, holding teams at just 33%. I do believe the rest will benefit Jimmy Butler and company here. They're going to look fast on the court. And again, when you look at a Heat team with 3 days of rest, they've won 9 of 10, covering 8 of those games, putting up 117 points a game, which is 5 points greater than overall average. So with all this rest, I'm going to go ahead and take the Heat here at plus 3.5 points. I know you looked at this game, Mitch, with this Heat and Celtics contest. So of course, the Celtics looking to try to even up the series.
We haven't had a buzzer beater in this series or a shot or a game that's come down to the last shot, and I think tonight might be the night. And I just see that, the Heat have played so well off of rest, and during these playoffs and the time in the bubble, they've had rest, and they've played well off of it. And look at game 1 of this series. Look at game 1 of the last series. Look at game 1 of the series before that. It's the Heat have been great off of rest. The Celtics, they look a little rusty sometimes. So not necessarily the same thing as a 2-run home run by Joey Bats in Cincinnati. Joey Votto rounding the bases.
Absolutely. All right, Mitch, let's take a look at this Rams and Bills game from the NFL. Early game, we got Buffalo favorites 2.5. Total sits at 47.5. This will be the best defensive team the Rams have faced. And one thing I'm always worried about, Mitch, is this Jared Goff. You put pressure on him. You force him to move, to run and pass. He's not very good when he's pressured and on the move. Bills, they have the personnel to make Goff uncomfortable in the pocket. Buffalo early this season, they put up some pretty good numbers. I know it's going to get to Dolphins and Jets, but still, Allen's completing 70% of his passes. But there's one thing, you look at Allen here, is can he make plays with his feet, which he can. I know the Rams have had trouble with quarterbacks that can run on them. How do you see this one, Rams and Bills?
Yeah, the Rams have had trouble with quarterbacks that can move outside of the pocket. But, Ed Oliver, questionable for this one for the Bills. They're going to need him to be healthy because the Rams have a 3-headed monster now at running back with Brown, with Cam Akers, and of course Darrell Henderson from Memphis now becoming more part of the game plan. We saw Goff miss him wide open in the end zone this last week, and no one was surprised about that. But Henderson starting to see action there, and he's a home run hitter. So I think that they do have this running game. They are going to need Oliver in there. I'm going to guess he's going to go in this game. It's not listed out, but I think he's going to be pretty tough. But I think this is going to be a low-scoring game. I kind of like the under in this one. You have really good interior defensive linemen on both teams, and that always makes one. And also really good running backs. Battle of rookie running back. Cam Akers, and you got Zach Moss. So pretty good stuff.
Pretty good stuff here. Good stuff here from Mitch here. This is the drive-through. Let's take a look at the plays from our show today. We're going to go ahead and flash them up on the screen. We had Joe Duffy lead us off here. He said take Army plus the 13.5 against Cincinnati. Then Razawacki likes Tampa Bay Lightning minus 150 in their game against the Dallas Stars. Chris Ruffalo chimed in with the Cubs on the run line, laying a 1.5 against the Pirates. Al Ninos said take the Royals at plus 120 odds. Yours truly on the Heat at plus 3.5. Mitch, out of the plays that were given out, which one do you like the best?
Oh. I'm going to say I like your pick of the Miami Heat against the Boston Celtics.
All right, he likes the Heat.
I think with the points, you're good either way. But I think what we have to worry about, for those thinking Heat money line, is that the NBA wants the Celtics against the Lakers. They want it, and it's like they're going to get it there. And whether they get it there with this one, whether they get it there with the next ones, well, we're going to have to see what happens. But, coming down to that last shot, if there's a foul that might not be a foul or something like this, I mean, who knows, right? They're going to get what they want. In the NBA, it really is, everybody is that good. There's no bad players in the NBA. Chris Kamen's not there anymore.
No, totally different NBA. All right, guys, this is the drive-thru. Remember, tune in tomorrow, 6 p.m. Eastern time. We'll have our Thursday show. A lot of football coverage. We'll cover the college football game with UAB. Will be in action. I believe South Alabama is their opponent. Our Miami-Jacksonville game, Thursday Night Football. We'll have the NBA coverage. Denver and the Lakers hit the court again tomorrow. So a lot of coverage, as well as Major League Baseball. The pennant races will be tight, so you want to be tuned in tomorrow at 6 p.m. Eastern time here on the drive-thru. All right, Mitch, any closing comments as we exit here? We see Cleveland up 1-0 here with against the White Sox and Giolito.
And they also got a runner on first here. I'm just really excited about where we are with sports right now. Next week we'll have Major League Baseball playoffs. We've got Thursday night college football, Friday night college football. We got Thursday NFL football. I mean, 2 months ago they were saying we weren't going to get sports at all, and people were, during my live show, why are you guys talking about stuff? They're not going to play any games. Yeah, they're playing games. I mean, it hasn't gone all that smooth, but it's gone smooth enough that they've had plenty of chances to stop playing, and they haven't done it. And I could see a day in the very near future we're all going to go get to watch a game again. Or we'll all be able to hang out in Vegas and watch a game together and do a show from Vegas or something. I'm just really excited about what the future brings. And I think that there will be changes to sports in the way that they do things, based upon what has happened over the past few months. And I think it's a lot of these rule changes and moving these schedules around is for the better. I think some of these things are just for the better, and it's maybe they would do shorten the Major League Baseball season. 60 is a little short. I don't know, 61. I don't know, something like that. It just seems, I think that the problem with the short baseball season is the scheduling. Has been weird. Hasn't been good, but it's they'll figure it out.
Yeah, it's the June, July, August where you need baseball. You need at least 90 games to get you through June, July, and August. I think I'd be okay. I'd be okay with 90. Because we got 3 months. We have 3 months of baseball in those summer months.
Yeah, 100. I mean, I just can't see them going back to a 162 game schedule. I just don't see it after this. But you never know.
That's right. All right, that was Mitch and Tony T. Thanks for tuning in to our drive-thru show. We're back tomorrow at 6 p.m. Eastern time. Let's put on all the pick dogs in our green room. Give you guys a wave goodbye, and we'll see you guys tomorrow at 6 p.m. Eastern.